And it's time that in the midst of this war, we confronted a basic fact, that Russia isn't so much a country as it is a gas station. And Vladimir Putin's gas station is open for business and pumping away. And this administration, Mr. President, has made the decision to make this country more dependent on Russian oil, to make the world more dependent on Russian oil, to embolden and empower Vladimir Putin at a time when the world can ill afford it. And it is time to change course. And we can change course. We can change our energy production policy. We can open up our energy sector to make us once again the dominant energy producer in the world, to make us truly energy independent, to make us energy strong, to put Russia in its place, and to put the United States at the head of the energy sector worldwide. But that's not where we stand right now. Today, the United States is importing. In the midst of this conflict, in the midst of Russian aggression, the United States is importing, buying from Russia to the tune of 670,000 barrels of oil every single day. It's nearly doubled just in the past year. Now, I would submit to you that whatever you think about this administration's geostrategic policies, this is, after all, an administration that has managed to lose 2 sovereign nations in the space of 6 months. Whatever you think of that record, this is not sustainable. This is not good for the world. This makes America weaker, not stronger, and this is a time for American strength. What did Joe Biden do when he came to the office of President of the United States just over a year ago? Well, among his first actions was to cancel the Keystone Pipeline, to halt a leasing program in Alaska, to issue a halt on all new oil and gas leases, as well as drilling permits on federal lands and federal waters. By the way, that accounts for about 25% of U.S. energy production. He directed federal agencies to get rid of all support for fossil fuels. He imposed new regulations on oil and gas and methane emissions. He hired new SEC regulators to propose new climate regulations. And the list goes on, Mr. President. And these policies have had their effect. I will give the president credit where credit is due. His policies to throttle down our energy production have been successful. He has succeeded in making this nation energy dependent. In 2019 and 2020, for the first time, certainly in my lifetime, the United States actually exported more energy than it imported. We were energy independent, and even better, we were becoming the energy supplier for the world. Who's the energy supplier for the world now? It's Vladimir Putin. And that's because, at least in part, of the policies that this administration and President Biden have deliberately sought to pursue. Look, at the statistics don't lie. Why is Russia able to pursue this war of aggression in Ukraine? Well, at least in part because of this. They supply 20% of Europe's oil. Russia alone, 20% of Europe's oil, 40% of its gas, 20% of its coal. Russia supplies to the tune of 55% of Germany's natural gas alone, just Germany's, 55%. Now, can we wonder why our German partners were slow to want to sanction Russia, to provide lethal aid to Ukraine when they needed it before the invasion occurred? It's because Russia has Europe in a stranglehold. And that should be no excuse, Mr. President. I'm not saying that the Europeans deserve an out, not at all. But I am saying that Vladimir Putin has used his power, his energy production, to try and project new power in Europe. And unfortunately, he is having success. It ought to be our policy to reverse his power projection, to shut down his gas stations, his gas station of a country, by returning this country to energy independence and energy dominance. And we can do it. This is not a pie-in-the-sky pipe dream. We have been there before. We were just energy independent just a few years ago. We know what to do. It's actually pretty simple. All we have to do is roll back the disastrous policies that this administration imposed just a year ago. Roll those back and allow the American worker to get back to work on our pipelines, on our rigs, drilling and pumping natural gas and producing biofuels like the ones that we produce, the kind that we produce in my state. Put American energy back to work. It's actually pretty simple. Sometimes, Ronald Reagan once said, there actually are simple solutions. Not easy ones, but simple ones. This one Mr. President, is simple, it's direct, and it's time that we took it. And that's why I have introduced legislation along with Senator Grassley and Senator Hagerty and Senator Tuberville that would do just this. It would reverse the disastrous energy policies of this administration, the policies that have emboldened and enabled and empowered Vladimir Putin and the Russian military, and return this country to energy strength, return this country to energy dominance. I can't put it any better than this. If the President of the United States would give the American worker a chance, give the folks who man those pipelines, give the folks who work the oil rigs, give them a chance to show what they can do. And I tell you what they'll show you. They'll show you that they're the best in the world. They'll show you that they're the strongest in the world. They'll show you that this country is the strongest in the world, and they will put the Russian energy sector to shame. And by the way, Joe Biden, his policy was to greenlight the Russian pipeline, Putin's pipeline, Nord Stream 2. He lifted sanctions on it when he came to office, imposed limits on our own energy production, but lifted them on the Russians. Here's a suggestion. Shut down Putin's pipelines. Shut down Putin's energy sector. Open ours up. Do just the opposite of what President Biden did a year ago. Shut down the Russian energy production, open up American energy production, and show the world what the American people can do. And that's what the bill that I've introduced, along with my co-sponsors, who I'm proud to have with me, that's what it would do. It's very simple, Mr. President, and I would suggest to you that the time is of the essence. And so now I ask unanimous consent that the Committee on Energy and Natural Resources be discharged from further consideration of S. 3714, and the Senate proceed to its immediate consideration. I further ask unanimous consent that the bill be considered read a third time and passed, and that the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table.